I know that over the last several months, I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile.
Hey, this is the Toxic Reign Scandal. We are here at the locker room featuring TBK, the Turnbuckle King. We are here at it again, you guys. This time we are going to talk about a particular championship and when it was brought shame to the WWE title. We're talking about when the WWE championship was a disgrace. Now, we're talking about in past history when the WWE championship was involved, and also when the WWE championship was involved, where it occurred when events happened involving the WWE championship, that it gave the championship a bad name. And we're going to talk about a couple instances when this happened. This was mainly I'm talking about particularly the 90s. And I'm talking about two separate instances. I'm talking about when Shawn Michaels lost his smile back in 96, 97. And then also later on, as you already know, the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997. So we're going to talk about it. And as usual, we're going to air the dirty laundry. Now, we are here live, not just from YouTube tonight, also here live on Facebook and X. And we'll be there for a little bit for Facebook and X. Moment, not too long. And then if you want to remain the rest of the stream, you'll come to YouTube with Toxic Reign Scandal only. Let's see who came to log before we begin. Figure 4 TV, salute to you. CeeLo Myers, salute to you. Long time supporters of the Toxic Reign Scandal. Long-time supporters of the Turnbuckle King himself. So yeah, this is crazy, guys. We're going to definitely talk about when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. Because this championship, we know that this championship is known for having so much prestige, so much honor, so much respect, so much put into the championship as far as having some dignity. But there were very few times where it didn't have any dignity. And we're going to talk about these couple instances right here. Survivor Series and when HBK lost his smile. It's crazy Shawn Michaels in both of these scenarios, but we're going to definitely get into that. We're talking about this particular championship and when it was brought shame. So make sure you like, subscribe, and come to the locker room. And make sure the notification bell is on when you do notified when I do go live. So we're going to talk about these situations here. But with that being said, we're going to get to it shortly. Definitely will get to it shortly. And the Turnbuckle King himself is going to get into it. And we're going to talk about it. Without further ado, let's talk about when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. So let's get into it. Hey, we are Toxic Reign Scandal. We are back. We are going to do part 2 of the scandals and, of course, the dishonoring and the disgrace at the times that the WWE Championship had went through. Thank you all coming back. You get part 1 of Red Carpet Ring. Check that out on Red Carpet Ring on YouTube. I'm also on Rumble over there and Facebook, and also Toxic Reign Scandal if you want. Let me pause for a second. When I was saying we got low, it said, "Give me mod, please." I don't just give mods. You gotta earn it, pal. And this is my first time seeing you on the channel. If you want a mod, you got to it's a few scenarios. First, you got to subscribe to the channel, number one. I need to see on a regular basis on live streams, comment on lives or videos or shorts. If not one of those three, I do have the new membership, that you can subscribe to of where I get exclusive content of Toxic Ring Scandal. I have different tiers starting at $5.99 a month. If you partake into subscribe to one of those memberships, or I have seen on a regular basis more than just once or twice on live streams, not just subscribing. You got to do more subscribe. That's step one. You got to be on multiple live streams, and I don't mean just two, or videos or shorts. A comment. No spam, but comment. If you do that on a regular basis, we'll work something out. But thank you for coming to the locker room. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I could tell it's your first time here. Again, thank you for coming to the locker room. I'm going to get back to talking about when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. So let's get into it. Join me from Facebook. You're over here. And also going to do part 2 of this. We're going to talk about the events behind it. I'm going to give you 3 different stories regarding this WWE Championship and what it went through, what's the best, and there's going to be some cold truths to this. But with that being said, let's get into it. Let's air the dirty laundry regarding this championship. Now, the first occasion was back in the day. It was January 24th, 1963 in Toronto, Ontario. This is when Lou Thesz defeats Buddy Rogers to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for the 3rd time. Now, I will play a clip of how they said that Buddy Rogers, they said he was reluctant on dropping the title to Lou Thesz, and they said will be severe consequences, fiscal consequences, if he would not do the job for Lou Thesz. Now, this is Buddy Rogers that I explained earlier. He was also the first ever WWF World Heavyweight Champion. It was all before that a former NWA World Champion. So it says it right here. Lou Thesz will keep the belt, but the belt change led to a split that will create the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, today known as the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. And Buddy Rogers was the first ever champion. That's how this championship happened. It was due to a disagreement, like I stated earlier, between the National Wrestling Alliance and the WWF at the time. They had disagreement, and they went and made Buddy Rogers the first champion. And after he lost his match and the championship of the NWA World Championship to Lou Thesz. That's what happened. Right now, I'm going to play a clip of how things came about of this championship match and how Lou Thesz won the title, and also how Buddy Rogers, it went to start becoming an inaugural champion for the WWE Championship. So this is fair use and for educational purposes only. So with that being said, I will let you guys hear that. We're going to go in and discuss that right now. Let me play that clip for you. It should not take long, no more than 1 minute. But let's hear it. What happened? Fair use again.
WA board voted to have Thesz win the championship back, but Rogers, as well as McMahon and Mont, were not happy with this decision. To ensure that Rogers played ball and did the honors for Thesz, promoter Sam Muchnick made the match a 1-fall encounter, as opposed to the standard 3 falls for title matches of the era. He also threatened to take Rogers' monetary collateral, a down payment to ensure that a champion doesn't run off with the belt, and give it away to charity if he didn't lose the match. Additionally, Rogers was made aware that Thesz, a dangerous and renowned shooter, was prepared to forcibly beat him in the match if he didn't comply. With few other viable options, Rogers did the job that night in Toronto. Out of protest of the decision to switch the belt, McMahon and Mont seceded from the NWA the next day. The NWA board voted to have Thez win the championship back. But Rogers, as well as McMahon and Mont, were not happy with this decision. To ensure that Rogers played ball and did the honors for Thez, promoter Sam Muchnick made the match a one-fall encounter.
So that is a story of how those two gentlemen were in the inaugural match, and also how the WWE Championship was born. It happened through that match, guys. That's what happened. And it's crazy that it went down like this. It really did. But yeah, this is what happened. This is definitely what happened. So that is a story behind it. The championship was created due to a disagreement between NWA and the WWE. It caused to create that championship based off of that. So Lou Thez, they was going to make sure he walked out of that arena that night in Toronto, the NWA champion. If not, there'd be severe consequences for it. So we glad it come down to that. But that was pretty much considered like the first screw job. It's just, it ain't get no crazier than it could have been. That was a forced victory, way before the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart situation. So that was the first encounter of a screw job within the WWE Championship that was big. That's the first one I'm going to mention. There's many others, of course, but that's the first mention I'm going to highlight tonight. Second one, we're going to talk about how Shawn Michaels lost his smile within the WWE. Now, he did lose his smile. In 1997, he dropped the WWE Championship, temporarily left the company, led to the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. So, with that being said, this is a screenshot when Shawn Michaels did the promo of him dropping the championship on Monday Night Raw, and I believe that was a Thursday Night Raw.
I know that over the last several months, I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile.
Might be a Thursday Night Raw special edition, if I'm not mistaken. That's Gorilla Monsoon, the Oscar manager, and of course, Mr. McMahon. So this is what happened. We're going to go down the article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll highlight the most important parts. A supposedly injury forced Shawn Michaels to drop the WWE Championship. They said he had an issue with his knee, but they thought he was hammering it up so he could just avoid losing the belt to Bret Hart. A lot of speculation regarding that, as due to Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart rivalry, their egos, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, like I said, it said that he was set to lose the WWE Championship to Bret Hart, his nemesis. It's obviously ruffled HBK. He did not want to lose the belt to Bret Hart, I'm sorry. Of all people, especially at WrestleMania, which would have been WrestleMania 13, they said HBK went over to Vince McMahon, told us he was acting up, allegedly. Now, they said once Vince McMahon heard about this, he sent to a doctor, keyword let's highlight it, was not accustomed to dealing with athletes. I'm going to repeat that again for you guys that didn't hear me. Vince McMahon sent Shawn Michaels, who had knee issues that could not be champion anymore due to that. He sent to a doctor that was not accustomed to dealing with athletes.
Tell me you did not just say that.
So why would he do that? I wonder. Said the doctor told him he will never wrestle again, and that was his ticket out of the inevitable job. He had no other option but to vacate the title, which he did on this Monday Night Raw, this episode right here. So, anyway, moving along, a couple months later, Shawn Michaels returned to the square circle as another doctor. This one was qualified in dealing with athletes, told him he was cleared to wrestle. So if he did that, why didn't you go to the same doctor from the get-go? Well, alleged because you didn't want to drop the title to Bret Hart. You probably paid off a doctor allegedly, went to a fake doctor. If he was even a doctor at all, let him deal.
That's cap. Totally cap. That's cap. Totally cap.
For athletes, or maybe a brand new doctor, and you had him write up a note saying you was forced to retire. That is a controversy within itself. Just the fact he went to a bogus doctor. He came back a few months later. Someone had a bad knee injury, and to come back that fast, that definitely raised his eyebrows. Raising mine. More eyebrows raised than The Rock when he used to do it. Come on, this was definitely Shawn Michaels not want to hand over his championship. Very clear that he did. And back in the day, we all know that he had backstage attitude problems. He was extremely unpopular due to his star power, and he was always on the hunt for the world title. And they said right here, highlighted here, Shawn Michaels, no matter who it was, absolutely hated losing the belt to someone else. Don't matter if it was Bret Hart, don't matter if it was Vader, don't matter if it was The Undertaker or Psycho Sid, anybody. He didn't want to lose that belt because he had an ego. That shows you right there he had an ego. But he was at his peak, and he was also, here go favoritism, guys. He was Vince McMahon's favorite wrestler, his preferred choice for champion. This is why Shawn Michaels got away with so much nonsense back in the 90s, and that's why he was able to pull that stunt when HBK lost his smile. He lost his smile. That's how he was able to get away with that stuff, because of Vince McMahon's preferred champion. That's how much they liked Shawn Michaels back in the day. He got away with so much. Now, that's the second occurrence regarding the WWE Championship and how it was being dishonored. That's another part of history where it was dishonored, that the WWE Championship was not in the high sets of respect as it should be. That started from Bruno Sammartino to Hulk Hogan, Bob Backlund, and it came all the way down to this. Despite, I know the issue I mentioned with Buddy Rogers, but this was on a whole nother level within itself. It started with Buddy Rogers, but it just gets worse and worse. Now, the third issue I'm going to mention is the Montreal Screwjob. And with that being said, before I even get to the Montreal Screwjob, Goodbread, I want to hear your take on both of these situations I've mentioned already regarding the WWE Championship and all the nonsense that has happened.
So far, so good. So far, the only thing that you didn't mention was you didn't highlight. You touched it though, but another little piece you could take from the Buddy Rogers on World Heavyweight title scandal is that's when they made the deposit for the WWE title. And I know you haven't gone over the WCW, the Big Gold Belt yet, but that's gonna come into play when you go over that title too. So y'all stick around and y'all like, share, subscribe, but it's gonna be deep and it's all connected, guys. The lineages to these titles all connect and it all tie back to the NWA alliance. And again, like I said in the beginning, like I said on the other stream at the Red Carpet Ring, Buddy Rogers was the first bad guy, the first heel to really run with the title. See, the Alliance, they didn't believe in that at the time. The older guys, the territory guys, they didn't believe that a bad guy can draw until Vince showed them that Buddy Rogers can draw. And still, even with Vince showing them that, yo, this is our pick, we lobby for Buddy Rogers to run with the title.
And that is undisputed.
Even showing them that he can draw, they still were stuck in their ways. They were set in their ways, and they wanted Luthez. So that was prolific and a keynote to take from that. But as far as the WWE title situation with Shawn Michaels and the losing his smile, we all know that it was just an ego thing. And this is what happened when you as a boss or you as the head of the company, you play this favoritism game. You do it to the wrong people, and you'll be creating your own monster that you got to deal with. And that's what Vince pretty much did with Shawn. But it was at the right time. Shawn had the right time. Think about it. Like, think about the company, wrestling, WWE in 1993 to 1994, guys. Think about the talent. Remove Shawn Michaels and think about the talent, God. So Shawn is an opportunistic person. He was very opportunistic, and he did what a lot of people would have done in that same situation. So we could scrutinize him and say what he should have, could have, would have did, but a lot of people would have did exactly what Shawn did in that situation. And then, once his friends and they all leave and go to WCW, he just started to feel more entitled, and his ego started to flare up.
Yeah, you right about that. There wasn't a positive. Well, back to the Bray Wyatt situation, there wasn't a positive regarding that, and I will touch on that with the NWA, WCW, Big Gold Belt. I will do a top 15 of that real soon, and we will touch that as far as this side goes of the behind the scenes, the championship, and the dirty laundry behind it. Because there was a lot of dirty laundry regarding that championship too, even worse than WWE championship, I would say. Shawn Michaels, yes. If you look at I think with Good Bread, what you mean the ushering in of the new generation era, and it was the end of the golden age era with Hogan. It was Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and of course, there was not that many other guys. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall left for WCW, and before Triple H and Stone Cold came up in The Rock, it was Shawn Michaels. He was the guy at some point in time. So he knew he could get away with it. I highlighted that article. He was Vince McMahon's preferred choice champion. He was his favorite. So it was nothing Shawn Michaels could do any wrong in Vince McMahon's eyes. But you definitely touched on that. That's definitely, you hit home with that right there. You hit home with that.
Facts, if you could remember, they had Viscera and some guy named the Sultan as one of their main events. They had the Pirate. They had Pierre Paul Jacques. They had to go back and get one half of the Rougeau brothers to put in their main event. Like, wow. Doink the Clown. They still was running with Doink the Clown.
Yeah, Doink the Clown, that's another story for another day. He'd been phased out. He was definitely part of the beginning, near the end of the Golden Age era. He wasn't part of the new generation, which is a goofy character. But I give you a due on this one.
And I'm awesome!
So, with that being said, I'm going to mention the other one. That's the Montreal Screwjob. I will get your take on this as well. This is definitely to be highlighted. And this is the Montreal Screwjob is the real life double cross of defending WWF champion Bret Hart by Vince McMahon, owner of the World Wrestling Federation, during the main event Survivor Series in 1997, November 9th, in Montreal, Quebec. Secret change of the match predetermined finish, known as Screwjob, was defined by McMahon and discussed with Hart's match opponent Shawn Michaels. The plan was executed with the referee Earl Hebner under the orders of McMahon, called a Bell Ring in the match when HBK held Bret Hart's sharpshooter, even though he did not tap out. And this is a screenshot of it right there. And years later, Bret Hart discussed the screw job. He said that we'd even hit our stride yet. He's saying, in his point of view, that the match could have been much better what it was if that screw job had not happened. That could have been a much executed match. Could have been much better, because of Hart and Shawn Michaels' chemistry in the ring due to their past matches they had together. So he says here in this article that we had another 25 minutes. The match was already good. We didn't hit our stride. He said, despite plans for Reyes to continue their rivalry, they never had a chance to do so in a singles match and pay-per-view. Dating back to that Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12, when Shawn Michaels beat Bret Hart for the championship and become the champion for the first time ever. They said it was all injuries and a lost smile until the showdown in Montreal. So they only had one other match at a pay-per-view, and that was WrestleMania 12, as Shawn Michaels was, quote-unquote, didn't want to wrestle Bret. He also mentioned here that he... All right, I just want to make a note to this. We got 15 people in here, 13 likes. Let's get the likes up. We are giving good content here tonight. We're here talking about Disgrace to the WWE Championship. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's continue on. 18 people in here. Like it's real easy. Just one click. Let's keep it moving, guys. He convinced himself they were going. He said, I convinced myself they weren't going to screw me. He said, I gave Vince 14 years. I gave him 100% every night. We would have had a great match that night, regardless of Survivor Series 1997. He, was still upset about what happened. I don't hear too much upset as much as he used to be, but despite that, he still was very upset about what happened because he was double-crossed. He was betrayed by Vince McMahon, and they say he looked to Vince McMahon as a father figure at one point in his life while he was with the WWE. Also, it says here that Davey Boy was there. He was known for packing a towel. They say he wrestled early in the car. He used Hart's towel after the shower, leaving Hart without a towel. This happened at Survivor Series. He left Hart without a towel before he got into his altercation with McMahon. I guess this means he always used to pack a towel before his match, during his matches, whatever. And it didn't happen that night because Davey Boy was also backstage in what happened between Vince McMahon and Bret Hart, altercation, when Bret Hart punched Vince McMahon allegedly. Gave him a good sucker punch. I heard, gave him a black eye. According to Undertaker was also there. Triple H and the Hart family, Shawn Michaels, just a big mess. One of the biggest scandals to this day regarding the WWE Championship, and it's crazy. It's this. If you look on the side here, it's this Winged Eagle Championship. The last two occasions I mentioned with the Montreal Screwjob, HBK lost his smile. Hint, it happened with the Winged Eagle edition. Both of those occasions happened under that design. Just want to highlight that. Now, good Brad, and maybe something I'm missing with the whole towel thing. With Davey Boy Smith, but I'm going to pass the mic along to you regarding the Montreal Screwjob. And what do you think regarding this?
Now, this is crazy how history just repeats itself. What did we just talk about with number one? We just talked about Luthez prepared to beat the living daylights out of Buddy Rogers. And Triple H mentioned this idea, but you see the sad part with Shawn Michaels, he was never tough like that. He was never going to be able to just forcibly take the title from Bret. Unlike, you know what I mean, Lou Thesz was ready to really beat him. But it's just crazy. It's just crazy how history repeats itself. And Undertaker mentioned something like this where he was going to beat, you know what I mean, beat the brakes off of somebody for not on doing the job. But again, yo, I don't know how Bret Hart could say that it was going to be a great match if you couldn't determine a winner. I don't see where you get a great match at without having somebody lose this match. You know what I mean? And clearly, he didn't want to lose this match, so it makes for great television, man.
And I was saying that too. How can this be a great match? And you knew that it was some stuff going on backstage of you staying with the company, leaving the company, and you know all that stuff going on. And then Bret Hart didn't know they were planning to screw you anyway. So even if they were planning, you didn't. Even though you won a good match, they weren't planning on putting on a great match. Bret Hart, they was planning to screw you. That was never in the cards because you didn't want to play ball, like Bill Bret said. Just like Buddy Rogers didn't want to play ball. Bret Hart was Buddy Rogers. Shawn Michaels definitely had to be Thesz, but he was the guy going to be champion. But the whole towel situation, that don't make no sense. I mean, I didn't know Davey Boy Smith held a towel every night. He forgot to pack one in Bret Hart's pack. Do you know anything about that, Gilbert?
No, I didn't understand that. That got to be like some inside information that have nothing to do with nothing. Like, is that symbolic for? Was it something? Was it a weapon in that towel? But like, I mean, I remember seeing British Bulldog with the towel wrapped around his neck as he's coming down the aisle during those times and I remember Owen too with the towel. In fact, I remember Owen more with the towel because when D'Lo Brown, when the Nation of Domination poked fun at them, that was part of the gimmick. They had the towel.
Yeah, I don't know if it was to throw the towel in for the match. I don't know if that's what they mean, during the matches. But like you said, I think it's something that's separate from the match. I mean, from the match and stuff like that. They say he didn't have it that night. That's what I want to highlight that in the article. But it's still crazy, like you said, history repeats itself. Now, the Buddy Rogers situation happened in 1963, and this Montreal Screwjob happened in 1997. So that's what, 34 years apart? Yeah, 34 years apart. My question is, what's the chance that happen ever again? Will that ever happen again in any wrestling company? AEW, WWE, New Japan, ROH? That's the question. I don't think it will ever happen again anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen again anytime soon. I think pretty much everybody knows, you know what I mean, what the business. Everybody's seen the impact and what happens to the business. And everybody learned a lot from this NWO. Like, you could always revert back to the ending days of WCW and see what killed them guys. And it was a lot of this foolery right here. Nobody wanting to drop the title, putting the title on the wrong person. Ultimately, bad booking will kill a company. You know what I mean? So you got to tuck your egos aside and do what's best for business at all times.
Most definitely. Like I said, I want to highlight those three different situations. The WWE Championship, as I mentioned last week, it really originated from the NWA, and also that first design that Bro Santino was wearing was the original NWA United States Championship. So WWE owe a lot of their allegiance and ties before they became a well-established, well-known company as the WWE today. It owes it to the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. And same can be said for WCW. Same can be said for TNA, and also even AEW. It all comes back to NWA, and I will explain that later. We go over the NWA WCW champions. Like I said, it's a lot of dirty laundry behind the NWA and WCW championship. Way dirty than this. So dirty I can smell it from a mile away. But that's what I want to touch on tonight. Like I said, thank you guys for coming out. It wasn't going to be too much longer because we already spent an hour and a half on the top. Now, with the Montreal Screwjob, we know that it was crazy with the Bret Hart situation. We know that the Lost My Smile was crazy with that situation. And I said before, it involved Shawn Michaels. It involved Shawn Michaels, HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, you know. It involved him, and it's just, I know he did an interview, and I know he talked about where he lost his smile. We're going to go back to where Shawn Michaels lost his smile. And I know this was after Shawn Michaels' first retirement. We're going to see what he had to say regarding he lost his smile. This is with Title Match. He did this, like I said, a while back, late 90s. This is before he came back to WWE and had his second run back in 2002. But we're going to see what Shawn Michaels, what he had to say on why he really lost his smile. Let's see what the Heartbreak Kid got to say about this, because I'm waiting to see what he had to say. I never knew he spoke about this, but we're going to hear about it right now here at the locker room. Let's get the likes up, guys.
TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What led you quitting, I guess, the promotion again when you did a promo on Raw where you lost your smile? I guess it was Massachusetts.
Yeah, no, I was, I mean, and that's...
a lot of critics say it was because you didn't want to...
Right. And that's, you know, first of all, I never got asked. I've never once in my career have I ever got asked, have I been asked to do a job to Bret Hart, except when I was asked back in 1992 or 3 to do a Survivor Series. And
That's cap. Totally cap.
We don't believe you, Shawn Michaels. You need more people. Let's continue on, guys. That's cap to me.
I gave up my shirt. Vince McMahon, my boss, never asked me. You know, so that's just that was Bret's, you know, that was Bret's idea. He's supposed to work with me and he's supposed to put me over. That was Bret's own little angle. Or it could be, and I'm inclined to believe it could possibly be true because Bret and I talked about it, you know, the night he left, before he left, is that Vince told him one thing, he told me another. You know, and as I look back, and
are you talking about Sid now or Bret?
Bret.
Are you talking about Survivor Series '97 right now? I guess.
No, I was just going back to saying that you know, I think a lot of the stuff that happened between me and Bret was motivated by, you know, The Office.
Okay, well, if we're on that subject, I'll talk.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We'll go back. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Say the subject. We'll get to that one.
Okay, cool.
Everybody does. Don't worry about it.
All right, Sid, and I guess you left the promotion.
The week before I was in the Meadowlands and my knee was killing me and it was fucking up again. So I went and got it checked. I went to this fucking guy here and he said you're done. You know, and my knee,
You just made the list.
Shawn, you know you lying. Your knee is done, but you came back. I want to see what else you guys say about this, Mr. Heartbreak Kid. Come on now, man.
my knee is, you know, it's totally screwed. But so I went up and I told Vince, you know, and I was really, you know, I was scared. I thought it was over. And Vince said, well, you know, we need to send you to Dr. Andrews. And he does. And everybody sends everybody to Dr. Andrews. Because Dr. Andrews, your knee could be hanging off, and he'd say, you need to brace that thing up, and you'll be able to go. You know, well, and not because he's a quack, but because he deals with athletes and he knows our desire to keep going.
Right.
But even Andrews said, well, you're still going to have to take time off. So when I told Vince that, and again, Vince said, okay, he said, go out there, you know, relinquish the belt and go. So I did. I did the promo, and all that was, you know, it was real life crying, because at that time, I thought, you know, my career was going down the drain, you know, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't motivated by anything. Both Steve and I went through rehab at the same time. And I remember Steve asking me and saying, "You gonna go to WrestleMania?" And saying, "Nope." And he said, "Well, I gotta go," you know, because this is my big chance. And I said, "I'd go too." I said, "But," I said, "I got nobody for me to wrestle." You know, I said, because the whole time going up to that, Vince was going back and forth, Brett Taker, you know, about me to wrestle. He didn't know where he was going. And I think a lot of that had to do with the situation between Brett and I.
Right.
They didn't know how to handle that. And the more they talked about it, the more, because every time Brett and I always seemed to rise to the occasion, and always separated one from the other, went out there and worked with each other. But they built it up with me that I was worried that he was going to fuck me up out there. So I wasn't about to go to WrestleMania and not be totally ready to go.
Right.
And at that time, the thing.
Now that may be the most honest thing you said. That's why they dropped that title. Knew Brett was gonna give you that work, Shawn. Knew he was gonna give you that work, son. Knew he was gonna get that work.
You about to get that work, son. You about to get that work, son.
That they built it up with me that I was worried that he was going to fuck me up out there. So I wasn't about to go to WrestleMania and not be one out there and work with each other. But they built it up with me. The more they talk about it, the more, because every time going, I think a lot of that had to do with the situation between Brett and I.
Right.
They didn't know how to handle that. And the more they talk about it, the more, because every time Brett and I always seemed to rise to the occasion, and always separated one from the other, went out there and worked with each other. But they built it up with me that I was worried that he was going to fuck me up out there. So I wasn't about to go to WrestleMania and not be totally ready to go.
Right.
And at that time, the thing was that this whole thing, and now as I look back, is just the biggest work or joke in the world. You know, they had me all worked up. This guy was going to fuck me up. You know, so I wasn't about to go out there with it. It's that simple. Right. You know, I mean, I was hurt. And I wasn't, you know, in my mind, I wasn't capable of taking care of myself. I wasn't about to go out there with a guy I didn't like. And years later, people can, you know, accuse me of not wanting to do a job and saying, I could give two fucks what people think, you know, right. You give two fucks what people think of what was going on. I wasn't about to go out there with a guy that I knew didn't like me. And the finish wasn't going to be put him over, you know, and that's the thing. And I knew that, Vince knew it, and Brett knew it. And that was only going to piss him off more. And to think that I was going to go out there with a guy that wasn't going to like the finish with a fucked up knee, I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
So I just, you know, I stayed out of the show, finished reading.
Now, with that being said, Shawn Michaels competed and not have this knee injury that we know was not true, we would have had a Montreal Screwjob early 97 instead of late 97. Wow. Man, that's crazy though. You guys get the likes of while we in this locker room.
We had my knee and then came back and, you know, I guess the King of the Ring or something like that with Steve.
Yeah, and you won the belts from Bulldog and Owen.
I think me and Steve first worked with each other at King of the Ring.
Right.
Both went in there gimpy kneed and had some kind of half-ass match at King of the Ring. We went to a draw. Then the next night, as a result of that match, the next night we worked with
Bulldog and Owen.
Right.
A lot of critics said that, you know, you claimed that you were hurt and then you had a great match, I guess. What do you say to those
You're
guys?
right. I had great matches all the time. I was hurt all the time. So
right.
what?
Right. That's true.
When didn't I have a good match? Well, my match at WrestleMania with Steve. Isn't that decent?
Yeah. Definitely.
You barely walk. Fucking Superman. I was when I wrestled. I mean, once I got out there, I could do anything. You know, I mean, it killed me every step of the way, before, after, and during. But it didn't matter to me. I mean, I was on, you know, 100% adrenaline and passion and desire and doing the thing I love most. And that's the thing that, and I've heard that many times that, you know, when you're, you know, look at him bounce, right? There's no very good shirt out there. And no, I didn't. And that's what fucked me up even more. Is that every time I went out there, I was never smart enough to go a little bit reserved and take care of myself.
Looking back, would you do it any different?
Not a chance.
Okay.
All right, that's the end of Shawn Michaels' interview with Title Match Wrestling. He talked about why he really lost his smile. Shawn Michaels said that he thought his knee was done due to the business with Bret Hart. He thought that he knew he was going over, that Bret would not be cool with that. And it was already a rift between Bret and Shawn way before Montreal Screwjob in November 97 at Survivor Series. So Shawn was saying that Bret was going to tear him up and he was concerned about his health. So can you blame Shawn for not wanting to do the job, not to put him over? Because, we know that he said he lost his smile.
I know that over the last several months, I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile.
And when he lost his smile, he vacated the championship, came back later. Later on, we end up getting a Montreal Screwjob. It just got postponed, which is one of the biggest moments in wrestling history to this day.
Are you kidding me?
So yeah, it was just one thing after another, but that was an early, either early 2000s or late 97, whatever the case may be. But we do know that it was leading to this point, and all we can remember was Shawn losing his smile. He said it just things weren't the same for him, and a lot of people knew it was BS. The stuff that Shawn was selling us on, a lot of people knew it was BS. They wasn't buying it. They just was not going for that at all with Shawn Michaels. They just wasn't. You couldn't blame them for it. Everybody knew, wrestlers, front office, that Shawn was not really hurt. Yeah, like I said before earlier, me and Goodbread was on. It was a doctor. He had a doctor write that up. And he's not fooling us. You can't fool us. I'm sorry, Shawn. We don't believe you. We do not believe you at all. At least I don't. Now think about, speaking of, we're gonna still be on HBK lost his smile. Thing about it is, there is another Hall of Fame wrestler that talks about this, and he was around during this time, about Shawn Michaels losing his smile. And the wrestler I'm referring to right now, that I'm going to pull up, a Hall of Famer, former WWE champion, by the way. His name is Mick Foley. So he actually speaks on this on his podcast, Foley is Pod. So let's see what Mr. Mick Foley had to say about this, because he had quite to say, and even he said it was cap. So everyone knew Shawn was faking it. Everyone knew he was lying. Let's get back to that. We're going to talk about Mick Foley, talk about on his podcast about Shawn Michaels losing his smile back in 1997. 97.
Taking on Bret Hart. Previews announced. It's going to be Vader taking on Bret Hart, taking on Steve Austin, taking on The Undertaker. Of course, this is Final Four from Chattanooga. Yeah. The idea being these are the last four guys in the Rumble when there was some controversy involved. So on Superstars, while Vader and Bear are cutting a promo about the match, they're in the ring, and you come down the aisle asking why it can't be Final Five, and where is your title shot, Uncle Paul, which is pretty hilarious. Yeah. And then Lowell, Mass, of course, February 13th, it all changes. It's the now infamous Thursday, Raw Thursday. It's also the day where Rocky Maivia, who'd he ever beat, becomes the Intercontinental Champion for the very first time, and then Shawn loses his smile. And you're in the arena that night. And listen, Shawn is a different person. I think you even referred to him a couple of weeks ago as Bad Shawn.
Good Shawn. Bad Shawn, good Shawn.
Yeah, so Bad Shawn here. A lot of people thought, that injury is bullshit. He just doesn't want to return the favor to Bret at WrestleMania. I'm not saying you necessarily felt that, but you're there in the building. Was the consensus from the locker room, I don't know that he's doing the right thing here?
Just help me out with my dates here. Shawn loses his smile before or after that fatal 4-way?
So it's the Thursday before. So it was supposed to determine a number one contender and who's going to go on to WrestleMania to get the shot.
Okay.
But then that Thursday, Shawn forfeits the title. So now Final Four, which is in a few days, will determine who's the world champion.
This is the one I want to turn into a Final Five.
Yes.
I remember when I saw Shawn losing his smile as being very emotional.
Yes.
This is just my recollection.
Yes.
That we weren't second guessing it. And I didn't second guess it until the Slammies. I saw Shawn all but do a back handspring on that stage. You know, that he and Brett got the a match of the year. And he said, I beat you that one too. It was still unusual at that time because of kayfabe still being alive.
Yeah, a little bit
alive and well, you know, maybe on resuscitation. But it was still unusual to me to see two people on the stage together collecting a match of the year award.
Yes.
Now we see it on Sports Center.
Mick Foley, you may be on to something. That's a good point. Bringing up the Slammies. Let's continue on. Let's get the likes up. We got 34 people in here, and I only got 15 likes. Let's get the likes up. Easy 1, 2, 3, click. Come on now.
With Sasha.
This is also the era though where Mankind and Vader show up in tuxedos and their masks. So kayfabe's alive. We're wearing masks.
We're wearing masks. Leon was still wearing his mask at the Hall of Fame until the year before he passed away. But yeah, we were there in the masks, and I won a Slammy for Lucius Screw. And at that point, I was sitting with the Headbangers. I think I even threw them the trophy. And this is also the night that Leon suffers an injury because of a prank that Bret Hart plays. So we'll get into that momentarily because that's leading up to our Mania match,
it's a big
which is
moment.
just a couple nights later. We're both wearing we're both wearing our masks. We are protecting kayfabe. Going back to Shawn, I'm sitting there and I'm seeing Shawn, who does not look like a guy
who's hurt,
a career-ending knee injury. But up until that moment on stage, I didn't doubt it. You know, he lost his smile and injured his knee. And it's important. Now we look at losing your smile, you know, and we understand sometimes you have to step away because...
Yeah, mental health is a different conversation now than it was back then.
Right. But I would say losing your smile is a mental health issue.
Of course.
And you get worn down. There's no rigor of the road to me like WWE. And to be that guy with that weight on your shoulders, especially pre-Attitude Era when we became that collective WWE juggernaut, before that there was more pressure on the main events to draw, and your tenure as champion was seen as being a success or failure based on house show attendance.
So it's down and you're hurting, and I don't think we're speaking out of school. He's probably over medicating. So he's not himself in any capacity at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not what it was. It's not. There's this little conversation I had. This might seem like a tangent I'm going off on, but there's this story in my Santa memoir about being in the front row at Madison Square Garden for a Knicks game, and I'm sitting there this time, like I am today. You know, I'm over 300 pounds. I'm taking up more than my allotted cushion. And so beautiful young lady sits, I see her approaching to sit down. Turns out she's with her mom. And I can see the hesitation on their face because people are sitting in the front row. They don't want to sit next to me. You know, if you're sitting next to Spike Lee or Ben Stiller, you know, and guys that were there, that's you sit next to this guy. And so I don't think this is a well-known story. So I understand this poor young lady. She's like sitting like this. If I'm to her right side, she's all but huddled over. And now the MSG team comes over to me, tells me they're going. Have I told you this story?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's a pretty good story about timing and is still that. I'll tell you why I enjoyed it after I tell you the line. Once they come over to me and say, okay, we're going to talk to you at the end of the first quarter, we have about 45 seconds. Now, they're talking to me during a 1-minute timeout. So by the time they walk away from me, there's probably 20 seconds left in the timeout. And the young lady says to me, oh, so they're going to interview you, huh? I said, yeah. She said, about what? I said, about a book I wrote. So now we got 5, 6, 7 seconds left. She goes, what's your book about? I said, it's about my time in prison. And buzzer hits, timeout's over, and the poor woman is just huddled like this. There's a photo where it looked kind of like, she looks kind of like my daughter, right? Beautiful young lady. And it looks like we've known each other for years in the photo, because what the photo is, it's of me on the scoreboard, and she sees that it's me being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And then they show me over there, you know, and she goes, oh, wrestler, huh? And so she tells me that she was a Rockette. And
from the producers of Vanderpump Rules, welcome to the Valley.
All right, that is Mick Foley. He talked about the Shawn Michaels situation, losing his smile, had a new son was fishy. Uzi Prods Productions, if that seemed like, salute to you, welcome to locker room. Christopher, salute to you, welcome to locker room. He said, Mick, you are a legend, bro. I used to watch you all the time. Some of your stuff is definitely legendary, bro. No doubt about it, especially ECW work.
And that is undisputed.
So with that being said, I'm going to play one more interview talking about how HBK lost his smile. And I could talk more about the Montreal Screwjob, but that could be a separate live on its own. I know it's another Hall of Famer. He talks about this as well. I know he never won the WWE Championship, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer. You guys do know this man. And, you know, he definitely had a lot to say. We're going to see on what he has to say regarding HBK losing his smile. He has a podcast similar to Mick Foley. And this particular gentleman, if you guys don't know, maybe you guys do know. Thing about it is he talked a lot about it. Like I said, we're talking about this in particular, HBK losing his smile. One more person going to talk about it. And this particular individual I'm talking about is on, we're talking about this particular man, and if you don't know, you're about to know him, it's Ted DiBiase. Everybody's got a price. So let's pull him up right now. Let's see what he had to say. He's going to talk about this on his podcast, Everybody's Got a Pod. And he talks about HBK losing his smile. Because Ted DiBiase, I think this is right before he left WWE to go to WCW. So we'll see what he had to say regarding this. And also, we got 20 people here. Let's get the likes up, guys. Come on now. Stop being stingy on these likes. You know you can hit the like button. Now, if it was your favorite YouTube content creator, you hit the like for them. Do the same for me. So let's see what Ted, the $1 Million Man, got to say on Everybody's Got a Pod.
Another piece of news regarding Hall and Nash is that apparently their old clique buddy Shawn Michaels reached out to Hall at around this time, asking if there might be a spot for him in WCW. And for frame of reference, this is the WWF champion at the time calling to see if he could jump over to WCW. But rumor has it that he'll be dropping the belt back to Bret Hart coming up at WrestleMania 13, and he doesn't want to take the loss to his real-life rival. But rumor has it that he'll be dropping the belt back to Bret Hart.
Now, that's a gem right there. Why are you trying to go to WCW? That's how he knew that Shawn Michaels was lying. Let's continue on. It's getting good.
Coming up at WrestleMania 13, and he doesn't want to take the loss to his real-life rival, despite the fact that Hart did him the favor the year prior. He's also apparently dealing with a knee injury, but the severity of that injury has been disputed for years. Shawn will instead opt to walk away from the WWF at this time, even though he remains under contract with them. So, Ted, I know this is a WCW episode, but this is a clip and a promo that has now become infamous in wrestling, and I'd be willing to bet that you've never seen it or heard of it. Let's have a look at Shawn's promo before he legitimately would step away from the WWF for a little bit.
The schedule over the last year I took on because I didn't feel like I could say no. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to enjoy my life as a...
You just made the list!
Lying. It's the thing you want.
Champion. I wanted to ride in Lear jets, and I wanted to ride in limousines, and I wanted to be on TV shows, and I wanted to do autograph sessions, and I got to do every bit of that. And if nothing else, I have all of that to take with me. But again, and I know right now we're in the middle of a time where toughness is real big here in the World Wrestling Federation. And unfortunately, all I've got right now for you is a lot of sorrow, a lot of tears, and a lot of emotion. I don't have any toughness for anybody. So I guess, here you go. Here's your belt. And what I'm going to do is go back home and see what's left for me, whether it be in this ring, whether it be out of this ring. I know that over the last several months, I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile. And I know it doesn't mean a whole lot to everybody else, but it means a lot to me. So I have to go back and fix myself and take care of myself. And I have to go back and I have to find my smile, because somewhere along the line, I lost it.
Okay, there you have it. Shawn Michaels loses his smile and goes home. It's a tearful promo. He's willfully giving up the WWF Championship, admitting to not being a tough guy. Straight out of the Bill Watts playbook, right, Ted?
Well,
not quite, right?
I never saw that.
I had a feeling, because you're on the other channel. I know you're not watching this stuff, but man, everybody calls that the Shawn loses his smile promo. And it like a lot of people point to it as kind of like a slap in the face to the business. I don't know. In seriousness, I know that you weren't there, but neither were most of the fans who remark on this situation and voice their opinions one way or another. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I guess, was this promo a shoot?
It was. That was real life. Shawn Michaels was really saying, like, couldn't do it anymore. He was citing the knee injury.
But I guess the other question I would have was, did Vince McMahon, who was holding the microphone, know that Shawn was going to say those things?
Yep. So they had a conversation ahead of time where Shawn was saying, hey, look, my knee is in rough shape. But the thing is that, again, WrestleMania 13 is right around the corner, and Shawn is expected to drop this belt to Bret Hart after Bret did the favor for him at WrestleMania 12. Right. And everybody knows that Shawn does not like Bret, and Bret does not like Shawn. And now it's his turn to do a little back and forth. And he, the time is coming up, and he's like, oh boy, this knee injury. Plus, I'm a little bit depressed. The business, it's been hard miles on me. I think I need to step away. And he gives up the belt.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, so outside looking into it, again, you're not there. Do you think that the position of WWF champion is just too much pressure for some folks? Or do you think that Shawn Michaels during this time was maybe not in the right headspace?
Well, again, I don't know what Shawn what he was saying. It sounded like it, it didn't sound like a promo. It sounded like it was coming straight from his heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that part of it might have been very, very real. I mean, to be in the position he was in. Now, here's the guy that's carrying the WWE World Championship, and he's going to give it up. Wow.
Crazy, isn't it?
crazy. I mean, making the money that goes along with that.
Shawn Michaels is apparently making something like $750,000 a year, and probably more after merch sales and whatnot at this time. And he's saying, you know what, I'm going to walk away from it. So something was going on, whether that be that he just wanted to wait until after WrestleMania come back, which is what happened. He would come back following WrestleMania 13. So it does kind of feel like, hey, look, he doesn't like Bret Hart. This is a good excuse. His knee was legitimately injured, maybe not as bad as he's letting on. I'm just going to step away. Oh, WrestleMania 13's over and I don't have to do the job. Hey, I'm back. That's at least been like the kind of the.
All right, let's hold the phone. Mr. Goodbread React, salute to you. We got a super chat of the evening. It comes from Figure 4 TV for $1.99. Before I do play the requested soundbite, if you guys are into golden age of wrestling, if you're into the 80s wrestling, maybe even 90s of ECW, New Jack era, whatever the case may be, backstage drama, behind the scenes. Now, we do cover here at the locker room, but there's a Pacific channel that does cover the golden age era. It definitely in the ring and outside of the ring. If you want to check that kind of content out, Figure 4 TV is the place to go. If you want to check out the channel as well, make sure you type in Figure 4 TV New Jack. So he definitely puts out that kind of content for 80s golden age wrestling in the ring and outside of the ring. And he wants to play open mic night. For those you don't know, when you send a super chat or a super sticker here, you get to choose what soundbite you want for me to play of my mini selection in my library of soundbites. And I'm going to play open mic night here.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
Thank you, Figure 4 TV. Salute to you. Appreciate your support. Brandon Aruna said, hey, Ted DiBiase, where you go, Terry, from a funeral? I was wondering if I did because you were there for his wife. Ted, how's your son, Ted DiBiase? Ace One and Brandon Aruna, salute to you. You said thank you, TK, and salute to the locker room chat. Appreciate that, no problem. And there it is. If you want to check out Figure 4 TV of Golden Age Wrestling, that's what you type in the search engine. Figure 4 TV New Jack. But yeah, let's continue on. Let's see what Ted DiBiase said. Now it was a little off. I know Ted DiBiase, I said originally he may have been WWE or his way out to WCW. Turns out Ted DiBiase was already in WCW at this particular time. I think he was dealing with the NWO as a manager or something. But I knew that Ted DiBiase was manager for the Ringmaster, now known as Stone Cold Steve Austin. But that was 96. 97, he was already gone. He was on WCW, so he was not in WWE when this was going on. But Ted DiBiase saying he didn't know about it, never heard. That's cap. Ted, come on now. Don't lie. You know that you knew about this at this particular time. You may not be in WWE, but you was definitely kept your ears around the wrestling industry. If someone said something to you at WCW, you heard something at a particular time. But let's continue on. Let's see what the $1 Million Man had to say. Salute to him. Great content he has over there.
Opinion of fans. Again, I wasn't there. You weren't there. We don't know. But I wanted to get your opinion on this just from kind of an outside looking in thing. Because we hear fan opinions all the time, but you're one of the guys that was.
And of course, I didn't know that. See, I strived to. I went out of my way to stay away.
In a world of tiny, overpriced fast food burgers, one chili pepper
from the controversies.
Smart.
I tried to get along with everybody, and of course, the new Shawn Michaels, the Shawn Michaels who has. Now giving his heart to Jesus Christ and is a very strong Christian, that's the Shawn I know today and who I admire very much.
Very different man.
Very different man. And and he'd be the first guy to tell you, like I could see where nobody liked who I was.
He's self-aware. You've got to give him that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, another question, then we'll let go of the subject of Shawn here losing his smile. I think I know the answer to this, but I think it's still worth asking. Have you ever disliked anyone in wrestling enough to refuse to put them over?
No.
Never.
No. I can't think of anybody that I had, I said it was like I got along with everybody. I stayed away from the. I don't know how I managed to do that. I mean, I pretty much got along with everybody. And it's kind of like Andre. If Andre liked you, you knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And if Andre didn't like you, chances are you were gonna know that too. But there wasn't any. There wasn't anybody in wrestling that I just loathed. That I just dirtbag. I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Yeah, we've talked a number of times about you disliking the Ultimate Warrior or Buzz Sawyer or like a bunch of guys along the way. However,
and again, like you said, the Ultimate Warrior is the one person I've worked with him maybe one time and had to put him over, and I hated it.
But despite the fact that you didn't like him, you were a businessman and you put him over. And same thing with other guys along the way. And that's what I hear Jake say all the time is like, man, there have been a lot of guys I've stepped into the ring with and I didn't like, but I'll let anybody pin me because.
All right, that is Ted DiBiase on his podcast. Everyone's Got a Pod. He was speaking on the whole HBK losing his smile back in 1997. And Ted DiBiase was not with the company at the time. He was with WCW. And that's interesting. We hear now that what his co-host said, that Shawn Michaels was, while he had that injury, remember, his knee was out, he was trying to go to WCW with his boy Nash and Hall. And it didn't go down like that. Isn't that something? Man, Shawn Michaels being sneaky over there. Very sneaky. Shawn Michaels, you know what you did, right?
I didn't know that. You know what you did. I know what you're talking about. I fair and square. You know what you're a legend, man.
So Shawn was trying to go to the rival promotion. Rumor, I do remember hearing about that Vince would not let him jump ship. So they knew exactly what was going on. Shawn had no knee injury. Shawn didn't have to force retire. Shawn did not want to lose to Bret because him and Bret disliked each other, despite Bret having to put him over at WrestleMania 12 the year prior for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 12 for the Iron Man match for 1 hour, where Shawn Michaels won the WWE Championship. That is crazy, though. History, guys. That's right, Figure 4 TV. You know what he did. So, and then Ted DiBiase said, I didn't hear nothing about that. He heard about it. You was at the Raw promotion trying to recruit Shawn Michaels. It didn't go down like that. So Shawn was trying to get out of there. Shawn was sneaky one. But yeah, this is interesting, guys. We are here. And honestly, there's nothing more left to be said. We covered the whole history of when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. Talked about the Buddy Rogers, Luther situation. We talked about of course, HBK losing his smile. We did many interviews on that. There was the Shawn Michaels interview, Mick Foley on Foley's Pod, and recently just now, Ted DiBiase on his podcast, Everyone's Got a Pod. And also we talked about the Montreal Screwjob. And all these situations were involving the WWE Championship or the WWF Championship or the WWF Championship, whatever you want to call it. It involved that same championship where it made the championship look bad. It gave it a bad name. It was an embarrassment of that title and the prestige and the history behind it. So we talk about 3 situations. And it's interesting what Ted DiBiase said too. He said that he had no problem working with anybody, but he didn't get along with Ultimate Warrior. I may have to touch on Mr. Ultimate Warrior Another day here at the locker room, talk about how I know he was well disliked in the locker room. We talk about Hogan, we talk about Shawn Michaels, but we don't talk about Ultimate Warrior. He had heat with Rick Rude. He had heat with Ted DiBiase. He even had heat with Andre the Giant. Maybe I should call it all cases where people had heat with the Ultimate Warrior, or everyone has smoke for the Ultimate Warrior. We have to see. Sound like Ted DiBiase, you gave me a good idea. Everybody's got a price. Well, everybody's got an idea. And you gave me a good idea when you said at the very end, as great as Ted DiBiase is to everyone, he didn't like Warrior. Figure 4 TV said, remember, this was before Brock took Vince to court, so Vince probably scared Shawn with the 1 year no complete calls. Facts! You own it, Figure 4. Man, you own it. You was right about that. I think he did scare him. And he scared it with the WCW. It's just Shawn got scared, unlike Brock, who said, I don't care. But that's undisputed what you said right there.
And that is undisputed.
That is a very good point you just said. And you also said here, don't forget Mr. Perfect and the Genius destroyed the Winged Eagle belt. Another occasion when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. And he's talking about Mr. Perfect's feud with Hogan. Was it 91, 92? When he took a hammer on live television and destroyed the Winged Eagle belt. That's true. I forgot. I saw that clip actually over a year ago. And you also mentioned here, and Jake the Snake can't stay Warrior. Yep, you're right. So I said I should make a big compilation. Everybody, you got the TV show Everybody Hates Chris. Maybe I should make a live Everybody Hates Warrior. Everybody Hates Warrior, right? Because we got Jake the Snake, Ted DiBiase, Andre the Giant. We got, of course, Hogan didn't like a Warrior. That as well. I believe Jake the Snake. Who else did I say? Rick Rude. They had to fight backstage. I think Randy Savage. Didn't Randy Savage have heat with Ultimate Warrior 2? I don't think Savage cared for him either. And of course, we know that Andre and I think someone else I'm missing. Warrior. Oh yeah. What's the name I'm looking for? Somebody else didn't like him either. Somebody else didn't like Warrior. I believe also Savage didn't like him. That's right. Savage didn't like him. And I want to say as well, didn't Honky Tonk Man have an issue with Warrior too? Maybe I'm reaching. I thought Honky Tonk Man had an issue with him too. Maybe that was somebody else. Figure 4 TV said remind them about what we're talking about. TV a couple people didn't know about Brock and Vince. Okay, Figure 4 TV is talking about this situation here. I covered this a few weeks ago. He is talking about how Brock Lesnar, remember he had a very bad falling out with WWE back in 2004, and Brock Lesnar wanted to move on to play football, which didn't work out. And before he did MMA, he had did something with New Japan. He wrestled there for a little bit. He had issue with New Japan, and he also was going through an ongoing battle with WWE. They was threatening to sue Brock Lesnar if he competed in New Japan. They threatened him with lawsuits, threatened him with class action lawsuits and all of that. And they gave him a 1 year non-complete cause, and they was trying to scare Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar would not budge. He said, I'm going to take you to court. Next thing we know, when Brock Lesnar did threaten to take WWE to court, WWE did not sue, and it was just a bluff. But I did a live on that. I did a live at the locker room here. We talked about New Japan instances. Actually, New Japan had issue with plenty of American wrestlers. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Brock Lesnar, all here at the locker room. Check it out. Yep, Savage couldn't stand him and Hogan. Rick Rude is rare. Rick Rude as well. Yeah, I mentioned Rick Rude. I got a video about Rick Rude, him and Ultimate Warrior backstage fight. Now Honky Tonk, but Bobby the Brain got serious injured by Warrior, and he hated him too. Okay, I knew it was somebody. Bobby the Brain. Okay, I probably got him confused with Honky Tonk Man. I probably got confused. I knew someone else had heat with Warrior, but I may have to make a little Everybody Hates Warrior, because so many people did not stand that man. Rest in peace to Warrior, but he was not well liked in that locker room. I'll tell you that much. And also, do have the memberships here. Monthly memberships. I'm gonna have memberships of 2 tiers, $5.99. No, 3 tiers. I'm sorry, 3 tiers. Excuse me. And tiers. It's gonna be exclusive videos of stuff I do cover at the locker room. So if you want to sign up, the join button's there. Other than that, that's all I have regarding when the WWE Championship was a disgrace. We talk about all these occasions here. Shawn Michaels primarily, because he just stayed in drama back in the 90s. He couldn't help himself. You can tell how cocky he was in that interview. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you all coming out. This is a holiday on Thursday, 4th of July. But I appreciate all you guys. Come to the locker room, and we will be back here again. Remember, this is the weekend of Money in the Bank and NXT Heatwave weekend. So I will be covering that on my other channel, Red Carpet Rain. But other than that, I appreciate you guys, your support, and everything else of such. Soon to videos will pop up. One will be Nature Boy World Championship match overrated. The following video, if you guys check it out, the rivalry Black Saturday, why Vince and Ted always had a rivalry. Don't want to miss that video. Check that out. And you guys already know. Calgary with you. All right, Jason Brophy, salute to you. And you guys already know what it is here. It's O. It's the U. And of course, T. We out.